the hard part still to combat smishing and vishing is a lot of times, no matter how good your company's network environment is, no matter how secure it is, it's only so much you can do to secure somebody's phone, whether it's the work phone or the personal, because you're not going to see the activity until they try to access something on the network. So you're going to be reacting every time, anytime you see these attacks happen. So it's always best to keep on doing security awareness and make sure everybody knows how to contact your security team if they see anything suspicious that they don't recognize. I think that's the biggest one. Like, they don't hesitate to send us nothing. And I'm like, bro, just mark this as spam, fam.
FBI cybersecurity firms say a prolific hacking crew is now targeting airlines and the transportation sector. The FBI and cybersecurity firms are warning that the prolific hacking group known as Scattered Spider is now targeting airlines in the transportation sector. In a brief statement on Friday shared with TechCrunch, the FBI said it had recently observed cyber attacks resembling Scattered Spider to include the airline sector. Executives from Google's cybersecurity unit Mandate and Palo Alto Network's Security Research Division Unit 42 also said that they have witnessed Scattered Spider cyber attacks targeting the aviation industry. Scattered Spider is a collective of mostly English speaking hackers, typically teenagers and young adults who are financially motivated to steal and extort sensitive data from company networks. The hackers are also known for their deception tactics, which often rely on social engineering, phishing, and sometimes threats of violence towards company help desk and call centers to gain access to their networks and sometimes deploy ransomware. The FBI statement added the hackers may target large corporations and their third party IT providers, meaning anyone in the airline ecosystem, including trusted vendors and contractors, could be at risk. The warning comes as at least two airlines have reported intrusions this month. Hawaiian Airlines said late Thursday that it was working to secure its systems following a cyber attack. Canada's second largest airline, WestJet, reported a cyber attack on June 13th that remains ongoing and unresolved. Media reports have linked the WestJet incident to Scattered Spider. This fresh wave of Scattered Spider attacks comes soon after the cyber criminal gang targeted the UK retail sector and the insurance industry. The hackers have previously broken into hotel chains, casinos, and technology giants. So Scattered Spider is on the move, and they don't discriminate.
No, not at all. And I know the people who are avid watchers or listeners of the show know how much that we talked about Scatter Spider and how they get active. And so previously, before going to aviation, they were also going to insurance. But I also want to talk about them going to aviation real quick before we talk about the takeaways that they did from the insurance industry. Is that if they're successful, we found out in real time how much people fly and need to fly from the CrowdStrike ordeal. What was that, last year?
Yes.
So that's something that could be on the magnitude of these companies that have bad infrastructure, if they don't have defense in depth and conditional access policies and good, what you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? Oh, good help desk policies. And also, I think it's on the telecom communication companies to do better at protecting SIM swapping. I think it's better for them to do a better job on that. Now you can, I know through the apps you can, like, when people try to port over numbers and stuff, you can definitely lock them. So I know you can make sure that stuff is locked. But I know there's some actual technology out there specifically for SIM swapping because a company reached out to me about like talking about it on the channel a while ago when Scatter Spider was like just ramping up. But I want to talk about some takeaways we got from Scatter Spider because this bleeping computer article went very in depth on it, and I thought that it was pretty informational. So, 3 key takeaways from Scatter Spider attacks on insurance firms. Scatter Spider continues to dominate the headlines with the latest news linking the hackers to attack on U.S. insurance giant Affleck, Philadelphia insurance companies, and Erie Insurance. This closed through SEC Form 8K filings, which indicate the theft of sensitive customer data and operational disruption. This comes at the same time that Google Threat Intelligence Group shares that it is now aware of multiple intrusions in the US which bear the hallmarks of scatter spider activity, specifically impacting the insurance industry. But what exactly does this mean? To answer this, let's quickly recap how we got here and what a scatter spider attack looks like. So I'm not going to read all this because it's going to be a lot, but how we got here is the criminal collective tracked by analysts at Scatter Spider has been active since 2022 and has been linked to a range of high profile breaches. For example, the attack on Caesars and MGM Resorts in 2023 and Transport for London in 2024. So hacker for Caesars, hackers impersonated an IT user and convinced an outsourced help desk to reset. See, I gotta pause it right here because outsourced help desk. That's the one that just stuck out to me. Outsource help desk to reset credentials, after which the attacker stole a customer loyalty program database and secured a $15 million ransom payment. That's wild.
No, the next
MGM
one,
Resorts
wow.
hackers used the LinkedIn information to impersonate an employee and reset the employee's credentials, resulting in a 6 terabyte data theft after MGM refused to pay. The attack eventually resulted in a 36-hour outage, a $100 million hit, and a class action lawsuit settled for $45 million. And
Six
Transfer for London
terabytes is a
resulted in
lot of
5,000.
data.
What'd you say?
6 terabytes is a lot of data.
Right. And then for Transfer, you were talking again?
Mhm.
Okay. And for Transport for London, resulted in 5,000 users' bank details exposed, 30,000 staff required to attend in-person appointments to verify their identities. That's crazy, man. That's 30,000. That's a real denial of service. So the calling card in most of these attacks were help desk processes and reset passwords and or MFA factors used to access an account. The attacker simply calls up the help desk with enough information to impersonate an employee, asking to send an MFA enrollment link for the new mobile device, and can then utilize self-service password reset functionality to take control of the account. Scarily simple. Now, see, in most places, you don't even have to call the help desk to do that because you should actually have a portal that you can go online to and enroll a device yourself. So I think that's one of the things how you can kind of mitigate that. It's like, oh well, you should know the site to go to so you can enroll yourself.
They taking advantage of traditional methods and things that a lot of folks are not moving away from. Like we should be moving away from calling the help desk to reset your password. That should in an ideal world be a thing of the past and or in a severe emergency situation, but you should be able to reset your password or reestablish your MFA factors as a self-service option to prevent occurrences like this from happening.
Right. So in this article as well, they talk about how like we do oversimplify that. Hey, they're going, social engineering, phishing, and help desk processes, but it's kind of a little bit more complex than that. So, Scatter Spiders resurgent in 2025. This technique was reprised in a series of high profile attacks in 2025 with major breaches of UK retailers Market Spencer and Co op. And I'm just going to go down here to the takeaways because that's the important stuff. I'm not going to read the whole stuff, it's really not too important. Takeaway number one: identity based TTPs are the new normal. Scatter Spiders attacks are the latest in a growing number of identity based breaches. When we look back at Scatter Spider's TTP evolution, we can see that they have consistently exploited identity based weaknesses in order to gain access to victim environments. So, these are pretty much the breaches that they did over the last 3 years. Twilio, Clavio, Twilio again. Oh, wow, they got them with vishing, then smishing. DoorDash through smishing. MailChimp was phishing and help desk. LastPass, phishing and vishing. Riot Games, phishing, vishing. I know people vishing has to do more so with voice. So you really getting somebody with your voice, and smishing you're using SMS. Smishing with Coinbase, Caesars Help Desk, MGM Help Desk, and then 2024 with Transport for London and MoneyGram was Help Desk, and 2025 with Co-op and M&S was Help Desk. Taking a step back, it's worth thinking about how help desk scams fit into the wider toolkit of tactics, technique, and procedures used by threat actors like Scatter Spider. Scatter Spider has heavily relied on identity-based TTPs since they first emerged in 2022, following a repeatable path of bypassing MFA, achieving account takeover on privileged accounts, stealing data from cloud services, and deploying ransomware, principally in VMware environments used by Scatter Spider include. So this is what they do. They use credential phishing via email and SMS to harvest passwords. They use SIM swapping, where you get the carrier to transfer a number to your attacker controlled SIM card to bypass SMS based MFA. Using MFA fatigue, aka push bombing, to bypass app based push authentication. Using vishing, directly calling the victim to social engineer their MFA code as opposed to a help desk attack. Social engineering domain registrars to take control of target organizations' DNS, hijacking their MX records and inbound mail, using this to take over the company's business app environments, and latterly, using MFA bypass, AITM phishing kits like Evilgenics to steal live user sessions. And I'm not going to go to the link for AITM, but I'm going to read some on the side. And it says, AITM phishing is a technique that uses dedicated tooling to act as a proxy between the target and a legitimate logon portal for an application, principally to make it easier to defeat MFA protection. While any login portal can be a target, attackers typically look for SSO login portals such as Microsoft Entra, Okta, or Google Workspace. This allows the target to log in successfully with a legitimate service they use and even continue to interact with it, while providing additional access to connected SSO apps if the attack is successful. As it's a proxy to the real application, the page will appear exactly as the user expects because they are logging into the legitimate site. Just taking a detour via the attacker's device, for example, if accessing their webmail, the user will see all their real emails. If accessing their cloud file store, then all their real files will be present. This gives the method an increased sense of authenticity and makes the compromise less obvious to the user. However, because the attacker is sitting in the middle of this connection, they are able to observe all interactions and also take control of the authenticated session to gain control of the user account. So, yeah, that's pretty much how that is. I would say I would look at those a lot as, and I could be a little off of this, but typically you see similar stuff with these credential harvesters, but a lot of times they look just like what you would actually log on into, but you got to really pay attention to them and how they look, because a lot of times the links will be different from if you go into, if you're trying to log into your Outlook, it'll be different from what it normally looks like, and it'll have some different things, and the way that it's presented to you will be slightly different too. So now back on the thing. So help desk scams are an important part of their toolkit, but it's not the whole picture. Methods like AITM phishing in particular have spiked in popularity this year as a reliable and scalable way of bypassing MFA and achieving account takeover. It's important not to think about these techniques as just scatter spider trait either. After all, scatter spider is not a self-identified group. It's a name given by analysts to patterns of activity. Given a series of arrests in 2024, it's unlikely that the current incarnation of scatter spider is the same individuals behind the attacks in 2022 through 2024. And it lists a bunch of different, criminal groups, lapses, Carrot Kurt, Shiny Hunters, and all these funny things. But let's look at takeaway number 2. Help desk scams aren't new, but they're here to stay. As we established earlier, help desk scams are nothing new. We saw them in the Caesars MGM resorts and Transports for London breach, to name a few, but they're likely to become increasingly prevalent as Scatter Spider continues to demonstrate just how effective help desk scams are. One of the reasons they're so effective is that most help desks have the same processes for every account. It doesn't matter who you're impersonating or which account you're trying to reset. So attackers are specifically targeting accounts likely to have top tier admin privileges, meaning once they get in, Progressing the attack is trivial, and much of the typical privilege escalation and lateral movement is removed from the attack path. So, if we just pause it right there, this is a flaw within itself. If the people, I put it like you probably have two accounts. You have your normal account, and then you have an admin account, and technically they aren't the same password. So that's a issue in itself as well. Like you shouldn't be able to have access to that admin account just because this person is a sysadmin. So that's something I thought I'd throw out there. Help desks are a target for a reason. They're helpful by nature. This is usually reflected in how they're operated and performance measured. Delays won't help you to hit those SLAs. Ultimately, a process only works if employees are willing to adhere to it. And hey, they use AI to do this. Look at these long dashes. And can't be socially engineered to break it. Help desks that are removed from day to day operations, especially when outsourced or offshore, are also inherently susceptible to attacks where employees are impersonated. But the attacks that organizations are experiencing at the moment should give security stakeholders plenty of ammunition as to why help desk reforms are vital to securing the business and what can happen if you don't make changes. Any commentary on that? I want to make sure before I read takeaway three.
I'm still stuck on takeaway one, but I'm gonna wait till we get to the end to make my comments.
Scatter Spider are consciously evading established security controls. So there's more to Scatter Spider's toolkit than just help desk scams. In fact, their approach can be broadly classified as consciously evading established controls at the endpoint and network layer by targeting identities. From the point of account takeover, they also follow repeatable patterns. Harvesting and exfiltrating data from cloud and SaaS services where monitoring is typically less consistent than traditional on premise environments, and exfiltration often blends in with normal activity. Many organizations simply don't have logs or visibility to detect malicious activity in the cloud anyway. And Scatter Spider have also been seen tampering with cloud logs, filtering risky AWS CloudTrail logs, but not disabling it entirely so as not to raise suspicion. Yeah, we did a what was that we did? We did a tabletop, I think, with CrowdStrike like that, where you're seeing people modify logs and stuff so you don't see what they're doing, but you can always see something because it's an audit log for about everything. Targeting VMware environments for ransomware deployment. They do this by adding their compromised user account to the VMware admins group and vCenter. If needed, they are going after accounts with top tier privileges by default. From here, they can access the VMware environments via the ESXi hypervisor, I forgot how that's pronounced, layer where security software is non existent, thereby bypassing EDR and other typical endpoint and host based controls you rely on to prevent ransomware execution. The key theme, getting around your established security controls. Stop identity attacks with Stop identity attacks with push security. So I know a fan of, I hate pushes because sometimes you just get a push from something and you're like, I'm not trying to log in right now. Like, what's going on now? Sometimes you're logged into something and it's trying to keep you logged in, but it comes at sometimes weird times. So you never know what's going on. So a lot of times I just ignore those and then I go into my settings to see if I see any, weird activity. Modern attacks no longer take place on the endpoint or network. They target identities created and used via the web browser. This means that attacks increasingly take place in the browser on resources your employees access through the browser. Push Security's browser based security platform provides comprehensive identity attack detection and response capabilities against techniques like AITM phishing, credential stuffing, password spraying, and session hijacking using stolen session tokens. You can also use Push to find and fix identity vulnerabilities across every app that you. So they advocating for a service. It looks pretty cool. Let me see if I can see this picture. I like these things when they always make these things. Acquire valid creds, bypass MFA, account takeover, actions environment monetize. And so this is giving a pretty much a visual depiction of what's happening when they're taking over these accounts and how they deploying the money. I mean, how they deploying the ransomware and trying to exfil the data and extort it. But it's pretty cool. To help combat help desk scams, Push recently released employee identity verification codes, a simple browser-based identity check that gives your help desk a reliable way to confirm they're talking to someone from your organization. That's pretty cool. You know what? I need to give. Hey, Push. I need to reach out to Push right here. Push Security. They might work with us. Push provides a lightweight verification feature in every user's browser. No additional apps or devices required. It enables legitimate help desk callers to quickly verify that they're in possession of their primary device by relaying a rotating 6-digit verification code in their browsers via the Push extension. This is a great way to securely confirm caller identity and sniff out fraudulent callers and can be used as a part of phishing resistance help desk processes. Okay, cool. So
Okay. Okay.
this is all in all an article for Push Security. Cool.
Wait, can you go back to the first one? Because I feel like we just need to circle back to the just read the first the identity.
Identity based TTPs.
Yes. Um Now more than ever is it even more crucial for folks to make sure that they have because I feel like identity is never going anywhere, right? I mean, we have all these different identities, users, devices, service principals, risk just it's never going to go anywhere. And I feel like what's happening is people are focused in on the newer and hotter commodities and technologies like AI, and they don't, or they never have had their identity side of the house squared away. Especially because we are working remotely, we're working from different areas. Everybody isn't in the office on the corporate network. And so if you don't have identity squared away, then it's going to come and bite you at some point in time. It's like one of the most basic things that you can do.
Nah, and then also, well, you're seeing a lot of companies now. They're going to passwordless as well. So they're using third
I'm here
party,
for it.
yeah, identity solution. So you have one main password, and it'll be connected to an identity solution when you are either using your work computer or accessing anything else. So now, as long as, well, if somebody had to access something, they would have to have that specific software. It had to be on like your computer or something like that. And so it's like, looking for such and such on this device. And then it's going to communicate it with like that because it knows you own and it'll let you in or something. So that's one of the ways they're trying to use to combat this. But I think the hard part still to combat smishing and vishing is a lot of the times, no matter how good your company's network environment is, no matter how secure it is, it's only so much you can do to secure somebody's phone, whether it's the work phone or the personal, because you're not going to see the activity until they try to access something on a network. So you're going to be reacting every time, anytime you see these attacks happen. So it's always best to keep on doing security awareness and make sure everybody knows how to contact your security team if they see anything suspicious that they don't recognize. I think that's the biggest one. Like, they don't hesitate to send us nothing. And I'm like, bro, this just mark this as spam, fam.
You'd be
But
surprised though how many companies have stopped doing security training for whatever reason. We
you
don't
think
have the
so?
bandwidth or absolutely. I know so. Yes. And it's not that, I mean, obviously not everyone, different sectors, but I think that that is something that should not be negotiable. If you're talking about things that we can cut off the list, that should never be one of them, because the end users are they're the ones educating them on these trends are going to be key. If they get a malicious MFA prompt, do they know how to report it? Yeah, we know you can report it, but are you teaching them how to report it? It doesn't matter if the button is there for them to report it if they don't know how to use it.
Yeah. No, that's right. And look, let's go a step further. This was something that Irvin and I was talking about when the company said they got the security controls. Are they implemented correctly? So when they report the fish, do it let us know on the other end they reported something that was phishing. And I'm gonna tell you, sometimes them tools be broken. So you think you're reporting something, and we
Mhm.
never saw it.
Or what is your method of reporting? Like you said, is there a report button or is there a little bit more the traditional side where they have to forward it to help desk, you know. So what is in place for your users, and how often are you revisiting these components? Hey y'all, you know we got this phishing button that you're supposed to be using. This is how you can reset your password. This is how, you know, it's just, it's a never ending cycle. It should always, I feel like companies should have security a part of their quarterly training, if not more frequent. Yeah, you have this yearly training, but folks get busy, they're boggled down, and they're just click, 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 clicking all the way through, or they done sped it up to 2 times the speed just to get the training over with because they're limited on time.
Yeah, for sure. But no, that was cool. I feel like I was in the third intel team. I might have to chop that up and send it to them. Like, yo, let me come work with y'all.